Hey everybody, how you doing? It is August 13th, 2020, and this right here is one of the reasons that I pray most families do not send their children back to school. If there is any possible way that you can work out homeschooling or, whatever it takes to keep them away from going back to these schools, please do it. Because these are the stories you're going to continue to see.
This morning, quarantine numbers in one Georgia school district on the rise. More than 1,000 students now forced to stay home after dozens tested positive during the first few days of class. Recent photos show students sitting and walking closely together, even taking part in a fire drill with no social distancing. The decision to reopen classrooms igniting debate across the country. One school district in New Jersey going all remote due to a lack of teachers. 375 teachers now saying they won't return because of COVID fears.
And we're going to go through this, all right? It says, Georgia school districts quarantines hundreds of students over fears of CV19 exposure. It says, barely a week after Georgia reopened its public schools amid the ongoing CV19 pandemic, a school district north of Atlanta has ordered 925 students, teachers, and staff to self-quarantine after dozens tested positive for the CV. The district also announced the temporary closing of one of its hardest hit high schools. Okay, now this says they told them to self-quarantine, but do you know for sure if they want to take these kids and quarantine them, they'll just use it just like this. If they say it's too bad, if they know that they had it, they'll take them. There's no doubt. They've been talking about how they may have to do that. There's no chance I'm letting my son get even into the position to be able to have this happen to him. And if they dozens tested positive, so that means they were testing these kids, right? You think that they had, parental consent on this? No, I doubt it. It's just, you cannot trust this, and putting your kid back into a situation like this is very, very, very scary right now. It says Cherokee County School District Superintendent Brian Hightower said in a statement Tuesday that there had been 59 positive CV19 tests among students and staff since August 3rd reopening. He said, we are not hesitating to quarantine students and staff who have had possible exposure, even if the positive test was prompted by possible exposure rather than symptoms, as all positive cases can lead to an infection of others. Okay, let's go back. We are not hesitating to quarantine students. You hear that, right? Even if the positive test was prompted by possible exposure rather than symptoms. So they're going to test you, they're going to do what they want with your kids, and they're not going to hesitate to quarantine them. He said Etowah High School would be closed to in-person learning affected at the end of the classes on Tuesday. At the end of Monday, about 300 of the school's 2,400 students, or 12.5%, were under quarantine, according to the Atlanta Journal. It says the superintendent's statement came a day after Governor Brian Kemp said at the news conference that the reopening of schools had gone well. Do you see how this is just so political too? This is what's so pathetic about it, is that people still believe that this CV is a real threat. When it's so obvious, if you just look at it, that the CV is not the threat, the division is the threat. All they've done is make it political, okay? And they're going to do this. They're going to use this back and forth, okay? And it's just going to get worse up until this, this rigged election that it will be. The people have no voice. People think, oh, well, I'm voting. Well, no. Did you vote for that person? Did you pick that person to put it? No. They give you a few people. You get to pick from those people. That really doesn't sound like a choice to me. But just think about it. This is just one school, okay? And if this is true right here, right? If this is actually the threat that's happening, 2,400 students already have it after just a few days. Think about that. They've already had to put that many into quarantine, but they have not instantly banned it United States-wide, countrywide, worldwide. Wouldn't you think that something like this would be plenty enough to shut it down? If this virus was the threat that they're telling you it is, and the story come out like this and was true, if all this really happened to these kids, it would be locked down instantly. Not one more kid would be going to school because they would be truly worried about the kids' lives and the teachers' lives, okay? but they know the truth that CV is not as deadly as what they're telling them. We know CV is the common cold. We know it is just a normal respiratory virus. It is nothing like they say, and these stories continue to prove it. But please don't think that they won't use CV to quarantine your kids, take your kids, and, eventually, have them get vaxxed, because we already see it coming. It's coming really, really quick, Check out this article right here. This kind of it was just insane, just reading some of it. I'll leave the link to it because it's a really, really long article, but I just want you to catch what this says. It says, the world's best hope for enough CV19 vax comes from India. It says, as Chief Executive Officer of the Serum Institute of India, the largest manufacturer of vaxes in the world, Adar Poonwala can produce about 1.5 billion doses a year of almost any inoculation. Listen to this. He has machines that fill 500 glass vials every minute in gleaming steel bioreactors almost 2 stories high that can make more than 10 million shots a month. 10 million shots a month. He can claim credibly that he helps inoculate 65% of the world's children in more than 100 countries against diseases such as the measles and tuberculosis. It's just unbelievable. I'll leave a link to this article because you're going to want to read through it. There are some staggering numbers in there, and it truly shows how far they're going to push this. They're not joking when they're talking about the entire world will be vaxxed. That is their plan. That is what they're going to do. So please check this article out. Share this information. Share this video. Please subscribe to my backup channel, Eric Sees All 2, and at BitChute, Eric Sees All, because I keep talking about this stuff, and I know they're coming after my channel, but I want to get you all the truth and the news that you really need to protect your family. So I'm going to keep doing it. So just you keep helping me, and we'll get through this. Continue to pray. If you don't see it, that we need prayer and we need faith now more than we ever have before, you're going to soon. You may have not had your area hit with something yet, or you may not see it yet, but I promise you, things are only going to get worse. And this is not about fear. This is about being prepared. Because if you can stay prepared ahead of these events that they're going to call it, and I feel a false flag coming too. You see all these explosions, I just feel something really big happening, coming in October, November, right in that area. Just feels like that would be perfect for them to, really lock everything down again. I think they're going to use the kids anyways, because all these kids are already going back to school, and you already see the breadcrumbs right here, talking about how all these kids, supposedly are quarantined and they're going to get it, etc., etc. Well, that's perfect for in a month from now to say, well, all these schools did this, all these schools did it, and now all these kids have spread it everywhere. Guess what? Oh, now we have to do a massive lockdown to where you don't even get to leave your house, to go get food. So prepare now, because it's definitely ramping up every day. I love you all. We'll talk to you soon. God bless.